Hey travelers, welcome back to another episode of Life's a Voyage, my podcast where we talk about all things travel and life. Today I'm joined by my good friend Kiersten. Hi Kiersten.
Hi Tatiana.
Oh, are you so excited to be here?
I am.
I'm really excited to be talking to someone again. Like I haven't filmed one of these in a really long time.
Yeah?
So
Well,
yeah.
yay. I'm glad to be here. I'm honored.
Oh, thank you. So today we're going to be talking about road tripping, car camping, definitely a topic I've talked about before and like people are really interested in. And you have a trip coming up that we're going to talk about.
I do.
So I'm pretty excited to chat with you about your trip. I kind of want to start off with, tell me a little bit about yourself, like kind of not so much, the whole spiel, but like how old are you? Why are you car camping? Like what's kind of the inspiration here? Like what kind of person,
Okay.
Car camping is for specific type of people. So
Yeah. It's for the dirty people, the grimy people.
We don't shower.
I have a bucket in my car that I'm ready to wash my ass in. Okay. So my name's Kiersten. I'm 23. I just graduated college, and I don't know. I just am so unfamiliar with the country that I have lived in my whole life. I really love to explore it, especially the rocks and sand, because I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's so shocking that sometimes I forget how diverse our terrain is because our country is so big, and like most countries are like the size of like one of our states, and it's so easy to forget how many different climates we have.
Yeah.
Like we have like tropical in Florida and like desert, and
I'm so used to just like the green, like the Adirondack type vibe, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to see, I think.
yeah. And I think that a lot of people feel like they have to leave the country to see those things.
Right.
And that's
I thought I had to leave at first I was going to go to New Zealand.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the same as what we got here. Maybe a little bit more tropical, but that's not going to give you any rocks and desert.
No rocks there.
Cool. And so tell us about your vehicle that you're going to be taking on your trip.
Yeah, so I'm taking my 2013 Toyota Prius, baby, 42 miles an hour. No, 42 miles a gallon. Wait.
Yes.
Okay.
42 miles a gallon of gas because it's a hybrid vehicle.
That.
Yeah. EVs.
It was my dad's, hand-me-down. I've had it since sophomore year of college, and I always said I would run it into the ground, and it looks like that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. How many miles are on it right now?
I think there's about 120,000.
Okay, cool.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no.
I think that our car, when we did the trip, we started with like not a lot of miles at all. I think it was at like 40 or 50.
We bought that thing brand new. Yeah.
It was like a lease, so there was only like 3 years of miles on it on a lease. So there was only like 30,000 when I bought it. And then we put miles on that. I think we did like 15,000 miles or something absurd.
What trip was that?
We went when we went to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, right.
But we did not go directly to the Grand Canyon. We took a couple detours. I think we were like between 10 to 15. I want to say like maybe 12, but it was a really long trip. And like throughout the whole summer, we put like a shit ton of miles on that car. It was great though. I could be completely wrong in the math. I'm bad at math.
Me too.
But I know that I put like, no, me neither. And I know that I put like double the like regular amount of miles. Like if a lease, they give you like 10,000 miles a year.
I've never done a lease.
I did like 20 in a year. And I was like, how do people only do 10
I guess it's
miles?
like if you're just like going to work and like living the suburban life.
Which is not us.
No,
we're not
sorry,
the suburban
honey.
hoes.
You just took that car to Arizona.
That's not the suburbs.
No.
Okay, cool. So you have this Prius, and what is your plan with the Prius? Let's talk a little bit about your route, your itinerary. We have some like main stops we want to make, right?
Yeah. So, my car, I haven't like made any actual like modifications to it. I've just spent, like I have the back seats down. I took the heads off, so that's just like that's the size of a full size mattress.
Yeah, no, they're roomy cars.
Yeah.
They're pretty roomy.
So I'm just going to sleep in the back of that. And then there's like storage in the back of the trunk underneath the actual floor. There's like storage where your feet would be. The front passenger seat, I'm not going to be using that. And so obviously it's like bare bones, but like when you go camping, you can't bring your whole life with you.
No.
But I am bringing my cat, so that's going to make it
Yes,
a little bit more, I don't know, compressed.
Yeah, a little bit less space with Egg in there.
Yeah.
Not that he's a big boy,
No.
but.
Yeah, well, when he took a shit this morning, I was like, that in the car.
Yeah, how are you going to do that?
I was going to, like, immediately, like, stop at a gas station, like, pick it out and throw it out. Yeah.
Because you're going to have a litter box in the car?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
I might use it.
Honestly, that's maybe a life hack. You know, all these people with their composting toilets. You just need a litter box.
You really do. That's how we do it at music festivals.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't go to music festivals. That's fucking hilarious. I love that.
But I'm starting in New York, obviously, because I live here. And then I'm going to Chicago, a state park near Chicago. But I say Chicago because it's easier for a landmark.
Right.
And then Badlands is my first stop.
Okay, cool. And that's
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because Chicago's like a halfway.
Yeah,
point.
Which is a halfway point, but it's still like 12 hours from
like
here.
9 hours.
Yeah, it's far from
That's
here.
actually when I had the idea for the trip, was when I was driving back from Chicago with my partner. And I was like, I want to do this more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We drove to our first road trip where we had an air mattress in the back of my SUV. We only slept in it like 4 out of like the 10 nights or something. But we drove from Rochester to Maine and then through Canada, like through Quebec, Montreal, or other way around, I don't remember. And then like
Quebec is real far.
Yeah. And then we came down through Toronto and back home. So we did like a big old loop. And we took 10 days. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this more.
That's
like,
a really cool trip.
This is fun.
A cool trip.
Yeah. It was a really awesome trip.
Yeah.
I wish like we had the time to do it again, and maybe we will eventually. But now that we have the van, we have so much more room and flexibility. But
she opens up her doors.
Yep. We miss Canada. We love Canada.
Love you, girl.
We miss you.
Miss you,
bitch. Okay, cool. So North Dakota. What are the other big stops on the trip?
So the first leg,
South Dakota.
It's like South Dakota, Wyoming, and then I'm stopping at my cousin's place in Salt Lake City. And then I'm hitting basically all of California. Like I'm going from the top to the bottom. And I'm going to be stopping in the middle at Sacramento. And then like Arizona, a lot of Utah. It's like mostly California and Utah. And then like the journey back, I'm going to be hitting the Rocky Mountains, which I'm very excited about because that originally was not part of the plan.
Yes, we miss them. So I'm jealous.
But I totally got rid of Texas because I was going to go down to Texas. But I was like, that just adds so many miles, so much time, so much money.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like, Texas is so out of the way. When we did our itinerary, we were like, well, we don't want to go through Texas because it's going to add so much time. But then we were like, well, if we don't go through Texas, we're not going to stop anywhere else. We're just going to drive straight back. Right. And so we were like, and Becca lived in Texas at the time, so we were like, oh, we'll go out of the way, and like we did a couple cool stops, like the not Great Sand Dunes, that's in Colorado.
Yeah, that's in Colorado.
White Sand Dunes in New Mexico, that we ended up doing, and that was worth the whole out of the wayness, but definitely adds a lot of money and time.
It does. And because I recently lost my job, I had to it was going to be 6 months and now it's 3 months. And
yeah, let's talk about budget and timeline. So you have a new leaving date. You have like set dates now.
Yeah, I do.
So when are we leaving?
So we're leaving on the 5th of July, 2022. And we're getting back on the 5th of October in 2022. So that's kind of fun how that worked out.
Yeah. How many months is that?
That's 3.
3 months. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a really good amount of time.
And it's like end of summer, beginning of fall, which I think will be a really good time, like as far as weather goes.
Might be a little busy, some of the places, but like, what are you going to do?
There's no reason people like to go at those times, you know?
For sure. Are you stopping? What's the last stop, like the fall vibe stop?
The last stop is the Rocky Mountains.
That'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go too early in the summer, which we kind of fucked up and we did, because I hadn't done enough research at the time. This was like way before Top Voyage, and like it was summer of 2019, I think, 2019. So it was like a year before I started my business and like really got into consulting and like itineraries and like that kind of thing. And we went in the beginning mid-June to like same time in July. So we were gone for like a month, which is neck break speed. Like, it was so fast. should have been like 4 months. But we, in the early summer, a lot of the places that we wanted to go, like Colorado and Utah, the ice, the snow melts in the mountains and comes down. And
late.
Huh?
Like late in the
No,
summer?
it just happens early in the summer.
Okay.
That's just when the snow melts.
Yeah.
And the rivers are really, really high. And so like we couldn't hike the Narrows in Zion.
I see.
Because the water was too high.
I see.
And there was like some rock fall advisory because the water was rushing, and like we couldn't do or we did do Great Sand Dunes in Colorado, but the water was so much higher than it usually is.
I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah. So mid to late summer is much better timing.
Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes.
Well,
though it's much
I
hotter.
was thinking like late fall, beginning of winter, because I was like, oh, it's warm in those places. Girl, no, it's not.
That was also a misconception I had, was like the temperature. Because we got to Colorado and that shit was freezing.
Yeah.
It was June.
And especially at night, it gets like so cold.
It's so freaking cold.
Yeah.
And we were in Colorado for like 2 nights, I think, that we slept in the car. And I was like, let's get the fuck out of Colorado. I'm freezing. Like, send me somewhere where it's like going to be warm.
Yeah, I got Egg a puffer coat.
Oh. Okay, we're going to have to insert a picture of that one.
We will. He hates it, but I love it.
But, you know, he'll thank you later.
He will.
He'll be like, oh, thanks, Mom. I appreciate this.
I'm so warm.
Okay, cool. So that's the timeline. Let's talk about budget.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking? How much do you think that this is going to cost you?
I originally, because I wanted it to be a lot longer than it ended up turning out to be, I originally was like 6,000 is probably, because I wanted to be gone for 6 months.
Right.
And like getting a campsite for like every night is basically rent.
Yeah.
Like paying rent.
No, that's like what, $25 a night?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I don't know, 20, 30 nights a month.
And then before I even knew there was such thing as National Parks Pass, where you can get into every single one by paying one fee.
Oh, you didn't know about that?
I didn't know about that.
So you were calculating those fees.
Mm-hmm. That took like $500 off my budget.
That pass is the best deal on this planet.
I have it in my purse right now. It's so exciting. It came in the mail yesterday, and I was like, why is the Geological Survey mailing me? And then I was like, I know what this is.
What did I do that they're mailing me something?
Are they going to like ask me my opinion on the environment and like
did
give
I
me
submit
money?
my email somewhere?
Sometimes I'll get a survey in the mail and there'll be like $5 in it.
Yeah, I've gotten that too. Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, not going to submit this. No, I do anyway. I feel guilty, but I don't.
I know I do.
Okay, so we're at 3,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a solid budget for 3 months.
Yeah.
I think that's a more than you might need. Especially
I'm hoping.
You've cut out the campsites every night now, right? You're going to sleep in the car?
No, I'm still like reserving campsites because like I don't want to be murdered.
Right. I don't blame you.
But I'm going to be going to a lot less, like a lot fewer. Like originally I was going to be at every place for a whole week.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, what if we did 5 days? Mm-hmm. And that actually made a big difference in like the price.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it like a deal if you?
No, it was just like over time. Like that's how I shortened the timeline, was just like getting rid of Texas, making it from 7 days to 5 days. And I got to 3,000. And I've already saved more than half of that.
Right.
So that feels great.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So question about like, because a lot of people that listen are like, well, like, how did you do it? I want to do it too. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to, like, are you still going to have your place here in Rochester while you're gone? What's going to work out that way? Like, how are you going to?
It works out really nicely because my lease is over the first day of August. So I won't have a home to pay for while I'm here. So I have to worry about getting a storage unit. Yeah, which is probably going to be around $100 a month. That's generally...
Which is not rent.
I've seen, right, not rent. Because at first I was like, I can put it in my parents' house. And no, I'm not going to put my entire apartment into my parents' house.
No.
So, yeah, I'm going to...
But we wish we could.
I know. And I did that at one point. And it was not good.
It was not a good plan, no. Yeah, there's a point when you get to having so much shit that you like have to take care of it yourself.
Like, I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment alone. Like that's a lot of furniture, and I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff.
Right.
I still have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. because you live in a 2-bedroom now, you just have a roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're not going to have rent. You're not going to have any bills here then, except for like what, phone maybe? And then you're just going to be on the road.
Yeah.
So you'll be like a little transient being for a while.
Gonna be a little nomad. I'm a little worried about how I'm going to get like birth control and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'll just have to talk to like my doctor.
Yeah, maybe you can get that up front if it's only 3 months.
I was wondering, but then also I'm on like antidepressants, and I feel like they would not give me that many
up front. Maybe there's a way that you can have it like just like sent to different pharmacies around the country.
Yeah, I think that's a thing.
Like call it in and just call to any CVS and
Part
be like.
Of me is like, also should I get like M&T Bank, because like I have ESL and that's only here.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like I should get things that are much more.
I'll say in the month that we were gone, we didn't need a ton of cash, but there was times when, ATM fees can add up if you're just drawing a bunch of money. Like maybe just get like a little checking account, throw a couple bucks in there.
Yeah, or like whatever, like this.
Yeah.
Just this on there.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to, not touch any other money.
I have it in cash in my parents' basement in a safe.
That's not the best way to save your money.
Well, first I was saving it above my bed in a flower vase, and my mom was like, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not do that either. These are both bad ways to store money.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe opening a new bank account would be a great way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do
I'll
that.
Put that on the checklist.
I actually do have a pen. I always have a pen.
But okay, so I guess we'll talk about, I'm like, I mean, you can take a notes now. I want to talk a little bit more about budgeting. Obviously, people are usually really interested in, how much it's going to cost you and like how you break that down and everything, which we kind of talked about, like you figured out how much your campsites are going to cost. And did you do like a food budget and like stuff like that?
So I'm kind of like estimating that it'll be about like $200 a month in groceries. I'm just like getting rough numbers from how I live my life now, because like I have a budget for how I live while I'm at home, and I can't get like frozen foods because I don't have a freezer. I'll have much less space for food. I'll have to be going with like the basics like avocado toast and mac and cheese.
Right.
So I think it'll be probably even less than that, but I'm trying to overestimate a little bit with everything.
Very smart.
Like with gas, I was quoted at like $7.50. But I was like, there's also driving within the parks, and like, maybe I need to like go here or there or wherever. So it's going to be more than that. But yeah, I try to be generous.
Cool. And then with that budget, so you've already saved half of what you're overall budgeting for the trip. What were like some of the savings techniques you used to like save? Because that's a lot of money for most people. It's very hard to save money, and like not only like if they have bills and like not a lot of extra spending money, but also just like, it's hard to like get the control to save money and like also like the restraint and like, so what were your savings techniques?
This is the first time I've ever saved money in my life.
This is beautiful.
I can relate to that.
This is an amazing time to save money.
Well, doing it in cash was very helpful for me. So before I lost my job, I was bartending. And so there's a lot of like cash when it comes to bartending. And so I have a blog that I started to kind of like keep myself honest and document my journey with this trip. And I wrote on there, I'm going to save $135 a week, which was like, when I did the math, it was like I was saving my rent and paying my rent in a month.
Wow, that's intimidating.
It was a lot, but I was looking at it as $135 a week, and it was just like, I would just take that out of what I was making, and I'd be like, it's pretend it's cash tips, and like you never saw it in the first place.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, it just doesn't exist. And a lot of it was just like the fact that I had put on the internet, I'm doing this, and
accountability.
Like, this is my timeline. Like, this is what I want to do. And that's the reason that I published that out there, was just so I could get myself on track, and it worked.
Yeah. So you just needed that accountability of like putting it out into the universe, putting it out on the internet, and then being like, this is what I'm going to do, and watch me do it.
Yeah.
And that really gave you the motivation to stick to it. That's amazing, because I feel like even then, it's really easy to fall off and be like, oh, no one's watching or no one's reading.
There were so many times, like, when I would just sit there and I'd be like, I could really use this cash this week. No one's going to know. But it's also like, I'm being responsible for myself. Like, I want to take myself on this trip,
Right. You want it enough. You want it so bad. So it's got to be something you really want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's not a car camping trip, which isn't so glamorous, if you really want to go to the Caribbean,
or like
then
Disney or whatever.
Everyone loves
you
Disney.
just have to want it enough.
You have to need a, you need to want it, and you need to keep yourself accountable. And I actually have some other friends that like the cash saving really helps because you're not seeing those numbers digitally every day. Like you can't check it every day. You can't
just like transfer it. Like if I wanted to dip into like my cash to like buy some weed, it's like you're literally like taking that away from what you have for this one specific purpose.
Which is probably like a lot of...
It hurts.
Yeah. A lot of feelings of guilt probably. And like it probably makes you think a lot harder about taking that money out of the cookie jar.
It does. It's literally a cookie jar.
It is a cookie jar. That's amazing though, because I'm the type of person that I hate cash. Like I never want to see cash. It's just like I want it all accounted for. But it is easy to just transfer things.
It really is. It really is.
One of the things that I used to do is I would have like a separate bank account for saving. I still do, but I don't really save in the same way anymore. But like when I needed like to save up for a trip, I would just transfer it to that other bank account, which didn't include my checking account, so I wasn't looking at it nearly as often. And I'd be like, oh, it doesn't exist anymore. That money just
it's like literally
no longer
you can't
exists.
See it like out of sight, out of mind, and then one day you look at it and you're like, oh, for me?
That cookie jar is fat. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So what's the new savings plan? Because
I know. The new savings plan is to get a fucking job.
I mean, some people won't even do that. So that's a great step.
Well, so I lost my job in November. And like from November to like the end of December, I was like, you know, this is the universe telling me to stop bartending. I got to get like out of the service industry, get like a full-time person job, big girl job that I hate.
Yeah.
And that just takes a long time to get those kinds of jobs. And so that wasn't working. And so I was like, okay, Dunkin' Donuts, like, let's get it. And then they were like, no, sorry. And I was like, what?
Like, what? I just need money.
So I kept getting this feedback that like I was overqualified for the easy job to get, the job you can get in a week, and like qualified for like the hard job to get, but like you have to take months, like maybe even like a year out of your life to get it.
Right.
Like I need this job now.
Yeah.
And so I just started like applying back into like restaurants for bartending positions, and I've been hearing back way faster.
Good.
I have a training shift coming up, so I think that's gonna be resolved soon.
Right.
And so I just want to like keep with the same like putting cash away, not as much,
right,
but keeping with the same strategy.
Cool. I've actually given someone this advice before, but if you think you're overqualified for a job, just don't put it on your resume.
Should I be like, I haven't graduated college?
It's not lying.
That's a good point.
Like if they say like, oh, we don't want anyone that has a degree, then just don't put your degree on
That's a good point.
Because honestly, like, if no matter what your qualifications are, like if you're overqualified or underqualified, like don't lie if you don't have a degree and say you do, like that's not okay. But that like if you're overqualified, that shouldn't be any reason why you don't get a job.
I know.
Like what if I'm overqualified to be a barista, but
I know.
I used to be a barista and
right.
I would love to be a barista again. Like there's no reason why I can't have a second job, you know what I mean?
Like I applied at Starbucks. Nothing.
Yeah, just don't put your
degree on there.
Just don't
girl.
put your degree on there. It's not lying.
It's not lying.
It's just omitting the truth. Well, part of the truth. But yeah. Okay, cool. So we're getting some feedback from some new service jobs, and we're going to get back on that.
Yeah. Well, my first interview, I have like this canned response for what happened at my last job, because it's like if I put it how I want to put it, in like layman's terms, it sounds real bad.
Right.
But if I put it how like a manager wants to hear it, it sounds better. And so like I started going on my spiel, and he's like, you don't have to explain that. One of our managers worked over there. Like, we understand how it works. Being there for 2 months is really impressive. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not terrible at this. And maybe the universe wasn't telling me to stop doing what I'm passionate about.
It was telling you to get out of the place that you were in.
Get out of there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of toxic work environments that we like don't notice until we're like out of it.
Oh, such like a like rose-colored glasses, because
blinders.
I love it here. It's so great, and then like,
yeah, like, oh fuck you, you're fired.
You're fired.
Okay, cool. So once we get the new job, whatever it is, we're gonna just go back to the savings.
Yeah,
and then you have like half your budget left to save, and you're gonna probably be able to save at half the rate.
I feel really confident that I'll be able to get there.
Right.
You know, it is a little bit closer, the timing. Like, I have less time than original, but because it's like half of the budget, like you said, half of the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Does that make you feel like way more achievable and like at peace and like?
Because for a minute there, I was like, I can't do this.
Right.
Like, when I lost my job, I was like, I can't do this anymore. You know, like,
which is like heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was really
like
hard.
that sucks more than losing your job.
Yeah,
it's like you're looking forward to this trip that you're planning and like it's gonna be life changing. It is going to be life changing. I will say this again and again. Long road trips, especially like car camping or like something less glamorous, life changing.
Yeah,
it
like,
is so life changing.
I'm trying to like learn about myself and like watch the sunrise and like.
Oh, you will, because tints don't do it.
I just want to write as much as I can, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so like let's get into that a little bit. So part of this this whole journey is that you're a writer, and like so your degree is in anthropology, and then you were trying to get some maybe like journalistic writing jobs as like a big girl job.
Yeah, that's what I was. That was the goal originally when I got out of college.
Right, but things change, and we realize that that's not what we want forever. So now, what's the new overarching goal, like the writing? What are you focusing on now?
I'm focusing on this one story that like I've had in the back of my mind for a while. And I was having a conversation with a friend where I was just like, you know, I can't wait till I'm like ready.
Right.
I can't wait till I'm ready. And he's like, well, why don't you put something out now? Like, even if it's bad. And I was like, what a thought.
Wait a second.
And so when I started writing my book, I was like, I'm 23. I'm like, this might take me like 5 years to make, but like I'm starting it now. But I think that the journey itself will give like a lot of inspiration as far as like landscape and envisioning this world.
Yeah, no, I agree. What genre does it like fall into?
It's kind of like a children's like adventure fantasy kind of,
like Magic
Alice in
Tree
Wonderland, Magic Tree House.
Yes, I love Magic Tree House.
That's my shit. Yeah.
Yeah, same. That's amazing. And I don't know, we haven't really like talked in depth recently, but I'm writing a book too.
I heard.
Yes. And so is Becca, and we're all writers. I feel like I attract writers. I don't know. We're a different type of people. We're a different breed.
It's a good energy.
It is definitely a good energy.
And my friend Candace is a writer too.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, she's amazing also. Like, hey, Candace. But yeah, like writing is so like one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done. And like, I'm also doing the thing where it's like, yeah, I'm 25 and I'm like writing my first book, and like it might not get published for years, but like I've written like a quarter of a book.
Right.
Like, how many people say that
put the work in?
They've written a quarter of a book, even if I don't get published anytime soon or like whatever it is. Like, that's hard work. It is fucking hard to sit down and write and like write good, you know?
Well, especially because when it's something you care about. Like when I would write a paper, it's like, oh, just get it on the page, get it out, hand it in. But now it's like, my name is gonna be on this. Like I want to be taken seriously, and so like I'm looking at every sentence like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And it's funny because as Becca and I talk a lot about like writing a book, she's always like, you just need to write like when it doesn't make sense, like just stop going back and rereading it.
Because that's what stops you.
And that's what I do is I obsess over like one scene and read it over and over and like rewrite it and then edit it. And I'm like, Tot, you just need to fucking write this whole book, and then there's an editing phase. But that's amazing that like this journey is going to help tie into your writing. And like I think that traveling is like one of the biggest inspirations you can get to write a story, specifically like something fictional and like adventurous. It's like the only way to know what the fuck to write is to like go out there and
like be a kid,
fucking do something. Yeah.
That's why I'm excited about this, because I'm writing from the perspective of like a young girl, and so just like tapping into like my inner child.
Yeah. Very fun. Very therapeutic.
Yeah.
You're really going deep there. That's intense work.
I'm trying not to project. I'm like,
aren't we all?
Betty was annoyed with her sister. Like, no.
Sorry, Katie. We love you. Okay, so kind of getting back to some of the more like, car camping stuff. What are some of your fears? Or like, I feel like one of the biggest things that people would tell me when I wanted to travel in general was like, oh, you need to be safe. It's so dangerous. Like, carry pepper spray and a knife. And
I got a stun gun in my purse.
Yes. Yes. But what are your like fears, and how are you facing those in the reality that you're going to be alone for the most part for 3 months?
I mean, I'm a woman, you know, and as a woman, you know that there are things that are inherently dangerous for you to do. And a lot of people will tell you not to do those things. And I just don't want to I don't want to hold myself back because of my gender.
Right.
You know, like
it's not right or fair.
It really holds you back. Like, I understand that it comes from a place of, you know, compassion and love, that people are like, this is dangerous. But it's like, it almost feels like sexist. Because, like, if I was a man, you would be like, it's great. Like, congrats, you know?
Like,
but, like, everybody's first thought is like, oh, my God, you're going to get murdered. And, like, that's my first thought, too.
Right.
You know? But I don't want to, I don't want to hold myself back because I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. And that kind of ties into, like, my anxiety a lot with COVID is, like, well, I don't want to travel because if I get COVID, like, I could get really sick and that's really scary and I don't want to get other people sick. But it's also, like, everyone is doing this. We're all in this.
This is where we're at now.
This is what we're doing. And it's, like, I can't let that fear control the rest of my life.
This is the world.
Yeah. So, you know, you be as cautious as you can, like, for either scenario, car camping or fucking COVID. It's like you do the steps and you take the precautions and you be smart. And
yeah. Well, that's why it's important to me to have, like, official national parks camping sites. And I'm not staying, like, behind a Cracker Barrel or, like, a Walmart parking lot, because I feel like there's just a bit more security when it comes to something like that. I'm custom making window covers for, like, every window, so I'm 100% like closed up, can't see anything.
Right.
But then there's also, like, if someone were to break into my car, the way that my doors are, I can't do the whole, like, tying the things together because my car isn't structured like that. So there's risks, but I want to do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And excuse me, sometimes, like, with those, you know, when I was with Adam, we would sleep in, like, Walmart parking lots and shit.
Fine. Two of you.
Yeah, there's 2 people, and, you know, even if someone were to do something, we felt confident that they would notice multiple people and fuck off, pretty much. Yeah. And even when we slept in places like that, we were just super smart about where we were in our surroundings and not putting ourselves in positions where we could have those occurrences.
Like, not cooking a whole meal, like, in that Walmart parking lot. So people are like, oh, they're staying there for the night, you know?
You pull up and you go to sleep.
You don't leave the van.
You crawl through the seats. And with, you know, going to official sites and stuff, that's a great way to have rangers and staff nearby.
Other campers.
Yeah. That's a great way, and, you know, being cautious about not being seen alone a bunch or something, you know.
And another thing I'm doing is I'm not making friends. You know? Like, I love people, love meeting people, all that stuff, but I'm not making friends on this trip. I'm not trying to catch a dick on this trip. Like, I'm not talking to anybody, not telling anybody my plans. Well, because when I took my first solo trip to Boston, I got in my Uber from my apartment, and I was like, I'm so excited to travel alone for the first time.
Like, yeah, bitch, shut up. Who are you?
And, like, you know, it was a female Uber driver, whatever, but it's just like, you
don't know she's a trafficker.
I really need to, like, be careful because I can be very trusting.
Yeah, one of my biggest things is, like, don't post where you are until you've left.
Not at all.
Oh,
that's
my
gosh.
gosh.
My blog is just, I'm saying, like, what state I'm in, you know? That's it.
Yeah, and then afterwards, post all the fuck you want, but that's one of the reasons why I've stopped posting so much on social, is because I'm not traveling a ton right now, but I'm traveling frequently enough that, like, if someone were to, like, know my patterns and know where I am all the time, like, I go to similar places a lot, and, like, I just try not to put that out there.
If I was a creepy dude on the internet, I'd be obsessed with you. So
yeah. Oh, thank you.
I would follow your itinerary and try to figure out where you are so I could come abduct you. Yes. So yeah, that's good.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate the honesty. So that's, like, the biggest thing is just being, you know, aware of your surroundings and really.
Yeah. For Christmas, I got bear spray and a stun gun. So
that's beautiful. What a great gift. Yeah. Who got you
Josh.
that?
That's
Josh.
Yeah, he came back from war and he's like, here
her cousin. Her cousin came back from war with bear spray. Don't die. Coming back from war.
Don't tell anyone. It's not legal in New York.
But okay, cool. And any other fears? Like, are you scared of, like one of the things that I haven't really traveled solo in the sense that I've only traveled somewhere alone to meet someone. Like, I've never traveled on a journey by myself. And I mean, I lived in New York City for like a couple months, but like
You had family.
I was with my dad, and like
Yeah.
even though I was like every day going to work alone and like doing the transits and like you
That's
know,
a schedule still.
yeah, it was.
Routine.
There was no like time in my life where I've done like a solo trip.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the reasons why I haven't is because I don't want to be alone. Like, I'm just terrified of being like lonely or like not experiencing things with other people. And like, I am a very independent person, but I feel like there's like certain things that I just need to do with other people.
I get that. I get that impulse.
Are you feeling any of that? Like, because you do have a partner. And
yeah, that does make me anxious because I'm just like, I don't know what we're going to do. I've tried to bring it up a couple times. And he's just like, we'll talk about it when the time comes. I'm like, okay.
I don't like that. Cute. Cute.
I know he's not watching this. So I can talk all shit.
He's amazing. We love him.
Actually, he might. He always reads my blog.
Oh, he's very sweet.
He is very sweet. But I forgot. I was going to say something.
Being lonely and...
Yeah, so I lived alone last year, like all of last year.
Right.
I had a lease by myself, during 2020, like pandemic. I had to quarantine Christmas alone, a lot of time alone. And I learned a lot from that. Like, there are times when you can allow yourself to feel lonely, but I do my best thinking, like, when I'm alone and when it's quiet.
And that's what you want this trip to be.
Yeah. Like, I have a roommate now, and I enjoy being around him, but there are also times when I'm basically alone. Like, he's been gone this whole weekend, and I've had the apartment to myself, and it's been nice. But I just think you learn the most about yourself when you're not surrounded by, like, noises and, just all the stimulation and people included,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you're not really, like, anxious about that and, like, being alone.
I am anxious about, like, hiking alone and, like, hurting myself.
Right.
And, like, not having anyone. But aside from that, no. Yeah.
That's strong of you because I am not that bitch.
I am that bitch. I'm telling you.
That's amazing. And then I wanted to ask you kind of on the flip side, like your fears, but then also what are you most like excited or what are you like looking forward to? What moments are you looking forward to besides just like, oh, I want to see this? It's like, what are you hoping to achieve or like what would be the best case scenario? Like obviously like coming back with a fully written book would be like fucking insane. But like, what moments are you hoping to get? Because it is life-changing, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to know what your thoughts are.
I have this, like, one just, like, scene in my mind, and I've never seen it before, but I can just, like, I can picture, like, I just woke up, I've lifted the trunk up, the mesh thing is there, like, I'm sitting with Egg, and we're just, like, watching the sunrise, and we're just, like, sitting there, and I have a morning routine where, like, I do yoga, and I make myself coffee, and, like, I'm taking care of myself. Which I've started to do now. Having a morning routine has literally changed my life. But yeah, I just see myself sitting in my car, just waking up with Egg, watching the sunrise over like this beautiful world wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A moment of peace. That is honestly like what changed my life about the trip was that so before the trip, I had basically just finished college in 2018, and then Adam had just graduated in 2019. And then we left. And so college is like this weird space where no one knows what the fuck they're doing, who they are. Everyone is just fucking miserable and selfish. And it's a time for self-discovery. And like, you can reinvent yourself or you can change who you want to be. And like, that's amazing. But it's like a really dark place in my opinion. Like college kind of like
ruined my life.
Yeah. You can tell that we're not the fans.
I don't know though. I feel like it's a distraction more than anything. Like it distracts you from the fact that you're living a life.
Yeah.
And that
it consumes your life.
Like you don't think about anything else. Like even if you're getting a degree for something in your future, you're really not thinking about that. You're just like very much in the present moment.
Yeah. And not in a positive way.
No.
So I had just come out of college and I went on this trip and I can't even tell you like the quiet and like I felt like my vision got better, not staring at screens and like hiking every day. Like my body felt so strong. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt very like aware of like me as a being in the world. Like, I don't know how to like describe that other than like I finally acknowledged my existence as a like just as a human and not as a like college student. Like, I wasn't a label anymore, you know? Like, I was just existing in this world. I was a person, and that was life-changing. And, you know, like, being in nature is so therapeutic, and, you know, you experience things and see beautiful things and just really connect with, like, your inner soul. Yeah. And it's really life-changing, so I'm excited to see you go through that.
Just, like, a really refreshing glass of, like, cold water.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. And I don't think that you can do it any other way than car camping, because tent camping is too rough, right? Like,
I hate tent camping. Setting it up, taking it down. I thought about it.
Yeah. It's not the move. Tent camping is like too rough. It beats on you a little too much. And then if you have an RV or luxury, like if you're doing hotels, then it's too glamorous.
Yeah. It costs way more too.
Yeah. Stressful. Yeah. You have to get places at certain times. And with the car camping, it's like this really cool in between. And I don't know about van life, like depends on how fancy your van life is, but you know, there's this really cool in between where you have enough comfort but not enough luxury that you can just like exist and not have to be anywhere at any time and just like journey through whatever your itinerary is. And it's just a really beautiful, like, small space to, like, exist in.
I feel like a lot of my anxiety when I travel is not having, like, a home base to go back to. And this is, like, my house on wheels. You know, I'll always have that home base.
Yeah, and you can escape to it, and you can go anywhere with it. So it's like having, like, that safety everywhere you go. Yeah, that's a really cool, it's a really cool place to be in. I'm really jealous. I want to go on another road trip. I just don't have time. Because I'm going other places.
I'm so excited.
Join us for Iceland.
But I remember when we were talking about you hadn't gone on a solo trip before. That's what I did in Boston. Was I just went. I was going to a concert, but I wasn't meeting anyone. I was going to be by myself the whole time, and I loved it. Because you know, like when I went to Chicago with my partner, it was like, we're going to go to another fucking museum, you know? It's like you do whatever you want to do.
Right.
And, like, even in those times when you're like, it would be nice to have someone next to me, it's like, but I'm okay.
But you're doing good. Yeah. And it's everything that you want in that moment. Yeah. And you always have the option to, like, give someone a call or come home if you wanted to or whatever, you know? You could even park your car at the airport and come home for a couple days and then go back if you needed to, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's a big reason why I'm staying with my cousin in like the first leg of the trip, is to kind of just like see something familiar face in the first leg, because I'm just worried I'll get a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, especially like one of the things that got me really caught up was that I had like this huge list of like things I wanted to see and do, and it was like, well, if we don't do something on that list, like, you know, I'm gonna be so sad. Like, we gotta like hurry to the next place, and like, you know, you start stressing and, like, getting anxiety over, like, making the trip, you know, and you just need to, like, let that go.
I need to chill, because I get my worst anxiety when I am out somewhere and I have a plan and it's not going to said plan. Like, even if I'm totally fine, if I haven't anticipated something, I turn into, like, this crazy, like, control freak monster. And so I think this is going to help me learn how to, like, let go of that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot. And, you know, doing group trips and, like, they're very different from, like...
Oh, that's going to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah. I think I kind of thrive on it a little bit.
I'm sure. But you're type A ass.
I know. I'm so fucking predictable. But that, like, as soon as something doesn't go the way you want it, it's like, okay, how the fuck do I fix this immediately? Because there's 8 other people on this trip that are, like, looking at me to fix it. And that's, like, scary. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Like, I'll do it, whatever. I'm fine.
I feel like you would thrive. Like, I don't remember who I was talking to, but they were just asking me about, like, who of my friends I'd want to travel with. And they were like, what about Tatiana? And I was like, I think I would do best as a person in her group trip, where, like, she's calling the shots and telling me what to do. And I'm just like, yes, ma'am.
And then you're, like, hiking up the mountain. You're like, okay, where to next?
What do I do, Tatiana?
Yeah. No, I'm not, like, like, I'm the type of traveler when I'm alone that I'm like fucking running through life. Like, it's crazy. Like, when we go to Iceland, I'm like, we need to see it all. Like, we need to go right now. And it's so funny because when I'm on a group trip, I'm like, oh, like, let's go here. Like, I'm like different. But as soon as like I have a trip that I'm planning for myself, I'm like, gotta get to the next place. And like,
I'm like the opposite because like my whole family travels like you do.
right.
And so when I travel on my own, it almost feels like I'm doing it wrong.
Right.
But I just like I can't have too much of a plan, or else I will like give myself anxiety. I need to just like whatever I feel like doing that day, just like have a rough idea
And let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, this has been great.
Are we done?
Maybe. Do you have anything else you want to tell me about your trip?
I just remember.
Did we not talk about something?
There was something I was going to write down, and I don't remember what it was.
Well, we can always listen back.
Okay.
I think I was gonna. I don't remember. We'll listen back. But
Okay.
wait. One thing I was gonna say is, make sure you always have water in your car.
Yes.
And get a really comfy pillow because your neck will be fucked no matter what.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I've been trying to figure out like what I do and don't want to take with me. I'm like, should I have 2 pillows?
Yes.
Like my body pillow?
Yes. I'm telling you, a good pillow will make the journey so much better.
Okay.
Because your neck will be fucked either way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that, you know, I mean, we have a lot more time to talk about this, like, off the podcast, but car camping is something that you can't just, like, jump in the car and do. And, like, I'm really happy and, like, proud of you for how much research and, like, how much you're doing to, like, establish an itinerary. Like, a lot of people think, like, oh, I'm just going to get in the car and go. And it's like, you are setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. Especially, like, when you're going in peak season, like, people want these campsites. People want that nice spot, you know, like, you have to be
They will
on
be
your
taken,
shit.
yes. And I'm just, like, really proud that you're, like, doing such a good job. And, like, you got your little maps and
You've been a really big resource for me. Like, talking with you has really been, like, helpful.
Yeah, I think it's been fun. And, like I said, car camping always has, like, a huge place in my heart. And, like, even now that we have a van, like, it's not going to be a fucking van like some people have. And, like, I mean, in my dreams, I would have a fucking huge transit that's kitted and, like, has solar panels.
These people that, like, they have a van with their cat.
Is it Leave the Map?
I don't know, but
With
their name,
Lucy?
is their cat named Big Chungus?
No.
Okay, so no.
I have to show you Leave the Map. Anna and James, they're
Okay.
actually good friends of ours,
Okay.
and we saw them when we were in Iceland, but they have a cat named Lucy that they travel with in their van. So maybe they'll have some cat tips.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though we don't have a huge, nice van and it's going to be like a very, like, just a more comfortable car camping experience, it's really fun to see, like, I, like, kind of miss, like, the, you know, car camping in an SUV and, like, the
unpredictable
problem solving. And
I feel like it gives you a lot of confidence when, like, something goes wrong and you have to fix it on your feet and you're like, I did that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I got myself out of that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, make sure you have a little savings for car repairs just in case.
Yep, not in cash.
Not in cash.
Not in cash.
No, credit cards. Please have a line of credit ready for emergencies.
Not a flower vase filled with ones.
Nope. You want a credit card with at least a limit of like $5,000 just in case.
I do want to plug my blog.
Yes, I was going to say, yes, I would like you to plug all of your things.
Yeah, so I write a post. Usually I write it on Sunday. It's called 10's National Park Service. It's a Wix site because, you know, we're on a budget. But yeah, I write posts every week, usually every Sunday. Sometimes I'll do it more if I'm feeling inspired. They're quick reads. And it's just like about this trip and like my journey getting there. And right now it's about my life because I'm not on my trip.
Right.
But I just think it's going to be such a great way to document this. Like once I get on the road.
That's one thing I wish I did more was journal more. I was just so like, I think it was like the first time in my life where I didn't have a schedule. Like, you know, I was just straight out of college, didn't have a schedule, and was like just so enamored with everything that I was like just like so, you know, focused on just doing things that I didn't write more. That writing and documenting it is very important, and it's going to be a really cool resource for you in the future. And, you know, just for
to, like,
fun.
Look back on it. Like I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I did that.
You're like, that's me.
Hey, bitches, I did this. Like, look how cool I was. And then are you going to do more, like, pictures or, like, I really want her to make a TikTok.
I did make a TikTok.
You did make a TikTok? Yes! I think that Kiersten has the best TikTok personality.
I have, like...
She's way funnier
I have,
than
like,
me.
1 follower. And on Twitter, I have 10 followers.
10. Yeah, no, I got to follow you on TikTok immediately after this.
Yeah, just, like, silly, goofy thoughts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to take pictures, and I want to, like, I feel like the TikToks are going to revolve a little bit more around Egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's cute. Egg is your beautiful little rescue baby.
A little cat.
He's very cute.
Very cute. A little sick, but very cute.
A little sick, but very, very cute. And he's here, and he's going to go on this journey with you.
And he's queer. I don't know if he's queer.
I mean, like,
I'm not going to assign labels to my cat.
Let's not assume.
But he gives me gay vibes.
He can't assume his gender either. He could be non-binary.
I have seen his balls.
Okay. But he could identify otherwise. Not to make a joke about gender.
No, we take that very seriously. We do.
We're trying to respect him and his gender identity. Okay, and anything else? So wait, what's your TikTok called? So we got Tens National Park Service is your blog. That's tensnationalpark.com. Wix.
It's tnnpks.wixsite.com/tnnpks. Because if I wanted to buy my own domain, it would be expensive.
Like $20 a year.
And my TikTok is Tenny Tuesday.
Tenny Tuesday. I love it. Okay, cool. So we'll follow you on there. Do you want to send people to Instagram too, or do you not care?
No, I don't really care about that.
Yeah. Instagram kind of sucks.
Yeah. That's for my ass. I haven't posted an ass shot in months.
Not a while. I'm missing the ass pics. She'll send me some later.
I will. I always send Tatiana the best porn.
She loves me that much. Okay, yeah. So let's wrap this up. I don't want to have people being like, this is going a little long. Okay. We could talk for hours, though.
Yeah, we could.
But maybe I'll have you on again closer to your trip.
Fun, yeah.
We could do like a little update, see where you're at and what's changed.
Or I could like show you my car or something like that.
Yeah. We should do like a little YouTube
house tour.
Actually,
welcome to my house.
I was going to say earlier, you're doing blackout curtains for your car. We're doing them for the van, so we should do it together.
Yeah, I'm sewing that.
I am going to do a video. We're actually not sewing. We're doing Reflectix and then adhesive spray glue with black on the back.
So you're going to just like, so would you be able to put the windows down?
Our windows don't go down.
Oh, see, that's my thing, is I want my windows to go down.
So how are you going to do it?
I'm going to do, so I've done like 2 pieces of fabric, padding in the middle, and then I'm going to give it like Velcro. Just like
we have Velcro too. No, wait, similar vibe. Yeah. We'll have to talk to details about the blackout curtain. But we should totally do that together. We have all this stuff, we just haven't done it yet. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for coming on Life's a Voyage. I'm excited for your voyage. And we'll have to do a little update later. And then again, when you get back from your journey. Yeah. That'll be great.
I'm going to be a new woman.
She's going to be a different woman, guys.
Living in Sacramento.
Isn't that from Lady Bird?
I looked up movies in Sacramento when I thought I wanted to move there, and Lady Bird came up. Also, Almost Famous. I watched that one.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. We'll chat again soon.
Thank you, Tatiana.